boy they'd recovered from the sea, the men of the Mackie Bennett commissioned a copper plaque with the words, "Our babe," for the little white coffin.
We think that the baby's arms might have been crossed, and so the plaque came to rest on the right arm and probably right near the proximal or upper end of the ulna.
Copper ions from the plaque bonded with bone tissue and acted as a preservative. Without the memorial, the bone would have dissolved years ago.
I'm not very religious, but from my perspective, that was a little sign. A sign that we're going to do this, we're going to get the unknown child eventually identified.
Following a well-established procedure, Ryan Parr and his team at the Paleo DNA lab take over the bone sample, while Dr. Malto conducts an independent analysis of the 3 teeth also found in the grave. The scientists will try to extract the unknown child's DNA, nearly a century old. But it won't be easy.
The sample that I began to analyse is a pretty tough little sample. It's one of the worst samples in terms of preservation I've ever seen.
Preservation isn't the only concern. The team must guard against even the smallest trace of contamination. Before handling the bone, molecular archaeologist Dr. Carney Matheson dons sterile clothing and enters a sealed chamber. An air shower sweeps off any particles that might corrupt the data. Tiny flakes are scraped from the arm bone and soaked in a solution of enzymes that liberate fragmented sequences of DNA. These fragments are then copied and loaded into a gel. Electricity directed through the tray will sort the DNA by size.
We run this at a lower voltage for better resolution.
Well, we'll see how it goes to start off with. I mean, that will give us better resolution, which should probably be good.
After just a few hours, they get the data they were hoping for. From a bit of weathered bone, they've successfully taken the genetic fingerprint of a child dead for over 90 years. Now they have a chance to identify him.
This is 16210 to 16401. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's the most reliable one we've got. So, I mean, we'll sequence that, check it out with the other one, the other team.
Excellent.
Yep. It's amazing the bone actually survived at all. So, to bring alive this individual from such a small fragment that basically is non-existent is really amazing. And to get the DNA from that is really exciting.
For almost 100 years, legend has linked the unknown child to Justa Poulsen. Ryan Parr and his team are about to determine whether they are, in fact, the same person.
So this is the unknown child's bone sample. It's a pretty good sequence there. We've got 16210 to 16401. I'll pull up the John Hyland sequence, and then we'll see what happens here.
So we're going to compare them letter to letter.
Yeah.
But almost immediately, Parr spots a problem.
Okay, so if we look right here, right away, we can see that there is a difference. And so down here, when we look at this sequence, we can see that there are actually 3 differences.
Shattering everyone's expectations, the letters that spell out the biochemical family names of John Hyland and the unknown child do not match.
According to this data, the unknown child is not related to John Hyland, which means that it goes to Leonard Poulsen.
Remains unknown.
Remains unknown at this point.
Yeah. In Sweden, Justa's relatives await Parr's report.
Hello Ryan, it's Lars Inge from Sweden. Do you have some information for me? So, do you have any idea who it could be? Okay, Ryan. Well, it was not good news for us, but I was speaking to Ola yesterday and we said that we want to give the unknown child a name, and we don't care if it is Gösta or somebody else. He wants an identity of the child, so we can rest in peace.
The search for a name is not over.
Did you go to Bob's retirement drink last night?
Oh, yeah. Retirement, eh? Haven't even started a pension yet. Just can't get my head round it all.
Oh, tell me about it. Company pensions, personal pensions, stakeholder pensions.
Exactly.
You should get a guide. I'll lend you mine if you want.
You a guide dog now, then?
Oh, no.
If you'd like help understanding your pension options, call for the government's impartial guide. Your pension. Know your options.
I think people turn to yoga because there's so much stress around. You can't escape life. Here, people can find calm, peace of body, peace of mind. We all need to relax.
Norwich Union Insurance. We can sort most home and motor claims with just one call. Don't worry, you're with Britain's largest insurer. Norwich Union. Together we're stronger.
Something amazing is happening. It'll change the way you bake your cakes, sweeten your cereal, and even drink your tea and coffee. Introducing Splenda, a new sugar alternative. It's made from sugar, it tastes like sugar, but it doesn't have the calories of sugar. Splenda, the new sugar alternative. It's amazing.
What is vavavoom? This chili has more, oh yes, than this one. Weird, no? No vavavoom. Okay. On one person it has vavavoom. Look, I don't make the rules.
Vavavoom is cool.
Oh yes. But cool is not always vavavoom. No. Okay, which one has the vavavoom? As the rabbit. Is it joie de vivre? Or is it je ne sais quoi? Hey Bobby, what's the French for vavavoom?
Presenting the new 12-inch PowerBook, the world's most compact, full-featured notebook computer. And the new 17-inch PowerBook, the world's first and only 17-inch notebook computer. The new 12 and 17-inch PowerBooks. The next big and small things from Apple.
To prove this person is not an actor, he will attempt a scene from a famous movie.
I'm going to eat a liver with baked beans and a glass of Chianti.
Clearly not an actor. So, tell us about BT Broadband.
We used to have a narrowband connection and it's very slow. And now what a lot of sites do is they provide you with snippets of goal sequences. So you see the score on a text screen or something and then download that goal and watch it.
Connection's now free and you get £30 off your broadband modem. Call 0800 800 060.
In Ontario, Canada, DNA experts persist in their attempts to identify the remains of the unknown child who died on the Titanic. It wasn't their first candidate, but they've succeeded in finding the infant's genetic fingerprint, and no one is ready to give up.
We know that the signature of the unknown child is really robust. We'll really have a good tool to continue the hunt and the detective work for who the unknown child may be.
The scientists review one last piece of evidence. The 3 teeth examined by Dr. Malto.
They were baby teeth, and the caps are just forming. And it was my feeling that, in fact, this person was no older than a year.
Malto's findings are further confirmation that 2-year-old Justa Poulsen could not be the unknown child. It's time to start looking for candidates less than a year old. The historian Ruffman returns to the archives to scour the passenger list and finds 2 infants who fit the new profile. 7-month-old Edward Peacock from England and 5-month-old Gilbert Danbaum from Sweden. After more genealogical detective work, living relatives are traced and DNA sequences are generated. But when they compare the sequences to that of the unknown child, Pa and his team still get no match. Determined to carry on, they shift their investigation to 3 slightly older children. The first is the youngest son of Finnish passenger Maria Panula, 13-month-old Eino Viljami. Working down the family tree, Alan Ruffman locates one of Eino's living relatives, Magda Schleifer.
Se on vaan jäänyt mieleen, että
It just has stuck in my mind as a strange fact that a relative of mine died in that incident. And I've been many times thinking of how tragic an event that really was.
Like Alma Poulsen, Maria Panula was traveling in 3rd class with her children, en route to join husband Juho in America. The family came from Ylihärmaa, a rural farming community in western Finland.
In the early years of the century, life was so much more difficult for them here in Finland, and like so many others, they too wanted to emigrate. There were many rumors that life was much easier over there in America.
But it was not to be. Maria Panula and her 5 sons were among the many victims of the Titanic. Traveling alone, 18-year-old Anna Turja, another Finnish passenger, survived the wreck and remembered Maria's panicked cry, "Do we all have to die by water?" Just a year before, the Panula's 9-year-old daughter Emma had drowned in a river. Now mother and brothers faced the same fate. Berthed in the stern of the ship, the older boys had been separated from their mother.
The night when this tragedy happened and the Titanic went down, my mother told me that Maria had been desperately looking for her children. When the panic started, she was looking for them on the deck. She was offered a place in a lifeboat. There was room for her and her youngest, little Eino, but she refused. Then Maria's sons found their mother. She could have claimed her seat in the boat, but the 3 oldest clung to their mother's feet, saying, "Mom, please don't leave us."
According to the records, the bodies of Maria Panula and her 5 sons were never recovered. But maybe the men of the Mackie Bennett did find the youngest, little Eino. Could he be the unknown child? Magda and 3 other relatives of Eino Panula send their blood to Ryanpaa. 4 years after the Titanic identification project began, the team finally gets its match. After 90 years without a name, the unknown child's identity has at last been restored. Now Magda and her family are traveling all the way to Halifax, Nova Scotia, to visit the grave of their long-lost relative. Alan Ruffman is on hand to accompany them to the cemetery.
So nice to see you.
Oh, I'm delighted to meet you. I feel I know you very well because I know your family history.
Yes, you know better than me.
Yes, I think so.
Ryanpaa has also made the journey, as have Magda's son-in-law, Jyrki, daughter Nina, and granddaughter Tia, who is just a few months older than Eino Panula at the time of his death.
Fact here, they never put this on the grave. And this is a stone that was made by the men of the Mackie Bennett.
Erected to the memory of an unknown child, whose remains were recovered after the disaster to the Titanic, April the 15th, 1912.
It was a beautiful gesture from those sailors to raise this monument for the child.
I can't find the words.
I couldn't know that how much that means for me.
Year after year, the citizens of Halifax still honour the memory of their adopted son, covering the ground around his monument with gifts.
It moves me that people care.
Yes.
People care, still after nearly 100 years. It's very touching.
I feel very satisfied and comforted and relieved that the child has been identified, because it was one of those things that sort of seems like it was meant to be. Like the unknown child really does deserve a name, and now he has that name.
Yes, that's good. He has a name now. Eino Viljami Panula was the name. Eino Panula. Rest in peace.
For more information about Titanic, go to channel4.com/history. And next Thursday at 9 o'clock, Secrets of the Dead has a new perspective on Scott of the Antarctic.
Thank you.